Welcome to this explainer where we're going to completely unpack the ancient metaphysical system of Jaimini Jyotish. We'll be looking at exactly how it maps your health and your karma across the very different layers of your existence. You know, if you've ever felt a profound disconnect between who you actually are on the inside and how the world treats your physical presence, well, this ancient system actually has a mathematical formula for exactly why that happens. So let's dive right in by asking a pretty heavy question. Who are you really? And who does the rest of the world think you are? You see, Jaimini astrology separates our actual physical self from the social mask we wear out in the world. It operates on this incredible philosophical framework that says what we truly are and what the material world perceives us to be are almost always two completely different things. And that gap, it isn't just about your personality quirks. It literally impacts how physical diseases manifest in your body. To really grasp this, we're taking a structured journey inward. We'll cover the three layers of self, the Aruta Lagna or social mask, the Upapada Lagna, which deals with bloodlines, the Karakamsha Lagna for soul karma, and finally, how to unlock the whole system. Section 1. The three layers of self, a metaphysical Russian doll. Let's start by understanding how Jaimini astrology divides the human experience into these distinct overlapping realities. It's basically a tripartite model that maps out how our soul navigates the grand illusion of the material world. This setup brilliantly illustrates the core philosophical tension, the massive gap between your true nature, the lagna or ascendant, and the illusion of your public image, known as the Arudha Lagna. Your lagna is the swarupa, the embodied personality. It asks, who am I in this specific physical form? But your Arudha Lagna is the Maya Rupa, the perceived reality. It represents exactly how the world sees you. You know, you might be incredibly humble on the inside, but if your Arudha Lagna is in Leo, the world is absolutely going to treat you like royalty, and they'll expect you to carry the heavy burdens of a king, too. Section 2. Arudha Lagna, the social mask. Now let's peel back that first layer and really look at the Arudha Lagna, or AL, which governs how your physical constitution and your health manifest in the material world. The absolute crucial point here is that while your birth chart's regular ascendant shows your inner potential, the AL dictates what actually materializes and how the world judges your vitality. The word Arudha literally means that which has been mounted. Think of it like getting on a horse to travel through society. It's the vehicle of your public persona. So, from a medical astrology standpoint, the AL reveals your visible health and what you actually end up suffering from out in the open for everyone to see. I just love how algorithmic this system gets. To find this social mask, you follow a few simple steps. Step 1, you identify your ascendant sign and its ruling planet. Step 2, you count the number of signs from the ascendant to where that ruling planet is sitting. And step 3, you just bounce that exact same number of signs forward from the ruling planet. That's your AL. Though keep in mind there are exceptions. Because the Arudha is a projection, it can never fall in the 1st or 7th houses. If your math lands it in the 1st house, you just move it to the 10th. If it lands in the 7th, you move it to the 4th. This preserves that dynamic tension you need for a social projection to even exist. Now, what is really fascinating is how planets placed in the 6th house from your AL trigger very specific, highly visible health crises. The 6th from the AL is your primary house of manifest disease. Take Mars, for example. If Mars is there, it causes sudden inflammation, accidents, or conditions needing surgery. Saturn, on the other hand, brings chronic, slow-moving, long-term issues like fatigue syndromes or arthritis. And if Rahu happens to be sitting there, you might be dealing with mysterious, completely undiagnosed conditions or intense allergies that just baffle your doctors. Section 3. Upapada Lagna, the bloodline. Moving one layer deeper into our metaphysical nesting doll, we hit the footprint of your family lineage and your ancestral karma. It's wild how this specific calculation unlocks the secrets of what you physically inherit from your ancestors. It acts as a literal genetic roadmap. Now, while the UL is famously used by astrologers to predict marriage and the nature of a spouse, in medical astrology, it is the absolute gold standard for tracking hereditary conditions and genetic diseases passed right down through the bloodline. The logic builds perfectly here. It's the exact same counting rhythm we used a minute ago for the social mask, but this time we are starting from the 12th house to decode your deep family ties. By finding the Arudha of the 12th house, counting to its lord, and jumping that same distance forward, we calculate the Upapada Lagna. This gives us a direct mathematical lens into the DNA footprint left by our family tree. So the 2nd house from the UL is actually the single most important indicator for family diseases, because the 2nd house represents the lineage and the blood. If there's a Taurus influence there, it brings genetic thyroid issues and throat conditions. Cancer points to hereditary digestive and stomach issues. Leo heavily points to hereditary heart disease or spinal conditions. And if you see Capricorn in the second from your UL, you absolutely need to be proactive about bone health because it strongly points to familial arthritis and osteoporosis. Section 4. Karakamsha Lagna, Soul Karma. Finally, we reach the very core of our Russian doll. This layer represents your innermost soul and its trans-lifetime dharmic mission. But before we can calculate this innermost layer, we have to identify your Atmakarka, or AK. This is simply the planet that has traveled the furthest in its sign, meaning the one with the highest exact degree, regardless of which sign it happens to be in. This planet acts as the regent of your soul. It has accumulated the maximum karmic experience across all your lifetimes and holds the ultimate authority over your journey right now. So, by projecting the soul's location from the D9 divisional chart, the Navamsa, straight back into the physical Rashi chart, we can map out the exact karmic health challenges your soul must work through in this lifetime. This new point creates the Karakamsha Lagna. Any diseases seen from this specific vantage point aren't just random physical ailments. They are profound, soul-level karmic health challenges. These are conditions that literally act as spiritual teachers for your deepest self. The sheer specificity of this karmic map is pretty incredible. If your Karakamsha is in Aries, your karmic hurdles manifest as fiery head conditions, fevers, or inflammatory issues. It's the sign of a warrior soul that really needs to figure out how to channel its fire. Virgo indicates karmic lessons tied heavily to digestion and discrimination. Basically, your soul learning what to absorb and what to reject. And Pisces? Pisces indicates immune challenges directly tied to the soul's push for ultimate liberation or moksha. Speaking of moksha, the 12th house from the Karakamsha is actually the ultimate indicator of moksha in all of Jyotish. It reveals precisely how your soul will eventually achieve absolute liberation from the endless cycle of rebirth. If Ketu is placed there, classical texts actually suggest you are on a near-final incarnation cycle. We're talking complete liberation. Jupiter brings liberation through immense wisdom and grace, while Saturn requires a long, slow path of selfless, highly disciplined service over many, many lifetimes. Section 5. Unlocking the Jaimini Metaphysical System. Okay, to bring all these incredible layers together, we have to look at one final piece of the puzzle, the piece that governs how we physically sustain these bodies down here on Earth. While the other layers we discussed show perception, genetics, and soul-level karma, the Hora Lagna, or HL, shows diseases that arise purely from the quality of our nutrition and metabolism. Hora heavily relates to time and sustenance. It actually moves twice as fast as the ascendant, and it dictates your metabolic health, nutritional deficiencies and excesses, foodborne diseases, and yes, even health conditions tied specifically to wealth and shared family lifestyle habits. All of this is beautifully summed up by a direct instruction from the ancient sage Maharshi Parashara. He says, a true master analysis requires us to synthesize all these planetary combinations to see the whole human being. Because you are not just your physical body. You aren't just your public image, and you aren't just your ancestral DNA. You are the dynamic, living, breathing intersection of all these layers acting all at once. So I really hope this explainer has given you a powerful new lens to look at your health and your karma, and it leaves you with something major to ponder. Just how aligned is your social projection with your deepest dharmic truth? Are you projecting an image out into the world that actually supports your soul's ultimate mission? Or is your public mask completely at odds with your inner reality? It's definitely a question worth asking. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into Jaimini Jyotish, and hey, keep seeking out those deeper layers.